Have you ever come across a white crust on the neck of the ordinary bottles? And have you ever wondered if this is normal or what you can do about it? Well, first of all, I can tell you, yes, this is normal. This can happen over time. And this can also happen depending also on how you're using the serum. Because sometimes when also applying the serum to your face and then you're done with the application and you're bringing the pipette back into the bottle, you may also experience that you are not really getting it right into the bottle, but you also will have some serum along the neck just because you misplaced it at first and then you put it into the bottle. This is how the crust can basically develop over time. Since then the serum that's around the neck that's still wet is going to dry over time, and then it also turns into a crust. This crust can become a white or yellowish depending also on the serum that you also may experience this issue with. But when also experiencing the crust, this doesn't mean that the product is bad. This also doesn't mean that there's a fault within the formulation or the bottle or product itself. This just means that some of the serum is basically sitting around the neck, and over time it starts to dry, and this is also how you can experience the crusting around the neck of each ordinary bottle. This can happen with any oils, with their anhydrous solutions, or with their water-based serums. Now, I have an anhydrous solution right here, which is also the ordinary resveratrol with ferulic acid. This is also where I have a little bit of a white crust that's basically building up right here. This also has happened to me with the ordinary niacinamide, which is also a water-based serum. This crust looks white if it's going to dry, like if the serum itself is going to dry over time. And it also mostly has happened to me, this is also when I first noticed it, with the ordinary caffeine solution. Now with this one, it doesn't really have it on the neck itself, but you can see the crust inside the lid. So most of the time, when you're also experiencing the crust around the neck, make sure that you also check the lid, because then most of the time some of the product is already, has already dried and it sits within the lid. So in case you want to get rid of it, you basically have to clean the neck, and you also have to clean the lid area. Now, how can you do this? First of all, I recommend doing this above the sink. I'm not above the sink, but I'm going to give you a few tips on how you can properly clean it. And then also another option in case there is so much crust that you can't properly clean it anymore, and also look for an alternative, or you may already have an empty bottle at home. Now, first of all, again, having a crust around the neckline from an ordinary bottle, from an ordinary serum, is normal. There's nothing wrong with it. Just make sure that you're going to clean it every other day so that the crust won't come back again. If you can already see that it starts to become kind of oily and smeary around the neck, start already cleaning it, because this means that there's some product around the neck, and that if you're not going to clean it soon enough, it starts to dry and then get hard and turn into the crust. Of course, if you have already a serum where you can see the crust, an easy way to clean it is also with a bit of water, as well as a wet cloth and also a clean towel or also a clean tissue. When also washing it out, to make sure that the crust also goes off and also disappears so that you have a clean bottle again, it is important, first of all, to also do it above the sink. And second of all, please make sure to always take a fresh wet cloth, as well as also a fresh dry towel. Or you can also, if you don't want to use a towel, also use a fresh tissue. That's fine too. Make sure that for every bottle you're going to use it, you're using something fresh and clean, to make sure that there's nothing that's on it that can also basically bring dirt into the bottle again, because we want to keep it as clean as possible. So I'm going to give you an example now with the resveratrol, where you can also see the crust right here a bit. I recommend also taking a little plate or something where you can also put the pipette on that's also clean. So this is a clean little plate, and I'm going to put the pipette on it for the time that I'm about to clean the neck. Now, first of all, you can see it right here just a bit. It's not that much, With a caffeine solution, I used to have already a bigger crust around it, which can also become more visible if you didn't know that this even could happen. But yes, it can happen. Then I'm going to take my fresh wet cloth, make sure to do it over the sink, it's just much easier. And then you can go ahead and start cleaning it. If you really want to make sure to also clean it well, you can also use a bit of soap and water to make sure to clean it. I generally prefer to also clean it early enough that I'm still able to also clean it with water, because I don't want to get any soap into the product itself, because I can't empty this bottle. So I have to clean it while the product is still in there. And so this is basically how I'm going to clean it, using a wet cloth with a bit of water and then cleaning it. And then go ahead, use a dry towel or a fresh tissue if you like to, and clean it dry. So, and then when it comes to the pipette part, I just want to show you, sometimes the crust can even happen on the pipette itself, depending also on the serum and also how it basically dried. But it also can happen within the lid as well. So if you have a crust outside the neck of your bottle, check your lid, because it's most likely to also sit within the lid. Now, one thing I do want to share with you is also with an basically empty bottle right here. This is a clean and kind of like old pipette. I do want to demonstrate that you can take the pipette out of the lid like this. So if you want to clean the lid really well with a bit of soap and water to make sure that everything comes out, you can tear them apart. And then once you are done, you have also dried it, you can also place it back in. So this is what you can do. I don't want to do it with the one that still has the serum on it, because otherwise I have my hands full of it, but this is also how you could do it. Or another way is also to take fresh cotton tips. Now, if you don't want to tear them apart and it's not that bad, so that you also still can clean it, use a cotton tip, maybe also wet it or use a bit of soap and water, and go within the lid, like this. This way you can also clean it like this, and you easily can also follow it around. Also, when it comes to the neck itself, you also want to make sure that you clean inside the neck, since if it's also outside the neck, you're likely to also have some spilled serum inside the neck, which you want to make sure to also clean it. So again, take a fresh Q-tip, I just use the other side of it, and clean it well within the inside, to make sure that everything comes off. So that you have a clean neck, you also have a clean lid, and then once you're also placing them again on top of each other, you're making sure that there's no serum left that then can also crust again. Now, another way on how you can do it is also, if your pipette or your lid may be really hardly crusted and you can't really remove it with any soap and water, you may also have an empty bottle at home, or a serum from The Ordinary which still has a little bit of product in it. Take that one, basically put it into the dishwasher. That's what I've done. I have an empty bottle right here. I have a few empty bottles from The Ordinary, which I then put into the dishwasher. I put the bottle into the dishwasher. I also put the lids. I'm going to tear them apart again. This is basically how I like to clean them when also putting them into the dishwasher, so that everything comes off, that everything is clean. You can also maybe do this one if you have, for example, a still open serum that has some product left, and you also have an empty bottle with still a fresh and clean lid. Then you can also go ahead and just basically exchange it. For example, if this lid and the pipette would look horrible and it would be so hard to clean it, just exchange it and use the clean and fresh pipette from an older bottle and replace it, and then put this one into it. And then what you can do while you're going to use kind of like a new pipette with a lid, you're going to put this one into the dishwasher to make sure that everything is clean again. So there are multiple ways on how you can also clean your lid, your pipette, as well as also the neck of your ordinary bottle. Just make sure that you are keeping everything clean. The more often you're going to do it, the less often you will come across the crust. Also, one thing I do want to also mention is that whenever you're going to apply or use your serum, make sure to, first of all, do not use too much in the pipette. Just use about a bit. If you're just using 2 to 3 drops, maybe a few more, just use about that much in your pipette so that you're not going to spill too much. And then when also putting it back into the bottle, make sure to not touch the neck area so that the crust won't happen. Just make sure to also get it with directly into the bottle correctly so that you don't have to clean it like every second day. So having a crust can happen, which is normal for the ordinary serums. You can clean them either with a bit of water. Make sure to always have a fresh cloth, a wet cloth, a fresh towel or fresh tissues if you prefer to also clean it with tissues. Use Q-tips to also clean the lid. Use it also maybe in the dishwasher if you also have an empty one, a separate one. So there are several ways on how you can clean it. Just make sure the more often you're going to do it, the less you have to clean. And this is also a great advice that I can share with you. And again, this is normal. This doesn't mean that the product is bad. This doesn't mean that the product has run out of date or whatsoever. This just means that you have to clean it and it's time to also clean it. So this is basically what I wanted to share with you. I do hope with a few tips that I could share with you on how you can clean it. You are now also able to clean your neck and lid as well, and that you then also can again enjoy your serum and have fun with it. Now, if you like this video, if you find it helpful, please don't forget to give the thumbs up as well as share it. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you soon in the next one. Happy skincaring. Bye!